Welcome to today's edition of the Anaglyph Jukebox. You never know what you'll find on the old jukebox. Let's press B31. Okay, we've got Joe Kubert's TOR in 3D. Like his prehistoric hero Tor, Joe Kubert was a giant in his field. He passed away at 85 in 2012 and was, quote, the longest-lived continuously important contributor to the field, according to Paul Levitz, former president of DC Comics. He began in the industry at 16 in the 1930s, and Kubert kept drawing in his hospital bed during his final illness. He's best known for his work on characters like Hawkman, Sergeant Rock, Tarzan, and Enemy Ace. He founded the Kubert School of Graphic Art in Dover, New Jersey in 1976, and early in his career, he invented 3D comics. Joe Kubert came up with the idea of 3D comic books in early 1953 after having seen anaglyphs in German magazines during his war service during the year prior. He and his partner Norman Maurer wanted to capitalize on the fad for 3D movies just getting underway in Hollywood. The idea that Joe and Norman came up with was drawing the various layers of 3D on 12 by 18-inch cell acetate, like the ones used for hand-drawn animation at the time, then opaquing the line art on the back. Then they would shift the sheets left and right to create the illusion of depth and hold them in place with registration punch marks in the acetate. One position for the right eye and one for the left. They could produce up to 6 levels of depth with this approach. They also used craft tint board for their backgrounds. Craft tint has 2 hidden duotones, one lighter and one darker, that are revealed when brushed with special developing liquids. This added texture and density to their pages. Norman got in touch with his brother Leonard, who had comprehensive knowledge about printing technology. Over the course of a single day, Joe produced a 3D sample of his caveman character Tor, and Norman did a Three Stooges page. Norman Maurer was married to Joan Howard, the daughter of Mo Howard, so his contribution had a family connection. Len Maurer worked for Supreme Knitting Needles on Long Island, and he drove out there from Manhattan that night, opened up the print shop, and produced the first sample page. But they had no glasses to view their completed work. So they went out and bought lollipops wrapped in colored cellophane, lime for the green and cherry for the red, and made their first pair of anaglyph glasses from those wrappers. They showed the samples to Archer St. John, and he immediately bought the idea. He wanted to convert his entire line of comics to 3D. Since St. John had licensed the Mighty Mouse character, the first American 3D comic book was 3-Dimension Comics No. 1, starring Mighty Mouse, cover dated September 1953. The first issue was a conversion job of existing flat art. This first printing of 1 million copies sold out. A second printing of 1.5 million copies also sold out. This at a time when a normal print run of a comic book was 300,000 copies. 3-Dimension Comics No. 1 also cost 25 cents for 32 pages compared to ordinary flat comics at 10 cents for 32 pages. In contrast, today Superman sells a mere 55,000 copies a month and is considered successful. Joe and Norman applied for a patent for what they called 3D Illustereo. They named their company American Stereographic Corporation. Kubert and Maurer both bought themselves new Buicks with the first proceeds. However, with a market this lucrative, other publishers decided to forego a license from American Stereographic on the 3D Illustereo process and work out an acetate method of their own. Soon, DC, Harvey, Dell, and others flooded the market with good, bad, and mediocre 3D comic books, from just 3 levels to as many as 7 levels of depth in every genre imaginable. About 50 individual books. The whole phenomenon lasted only 9 months and sputtered to an end in 1954. Joe Kubert went back to making great 2D comics for the next 60 years.